above all. You can ask for, you can ask for, you can ask for. I'm trying to tell you, you can ask for, you can ask for, you can ask. He's gonna blow your mind. You can ask. He's gonna make you way. You can ask. He's gonna open new doors. You can ask for. He's gonna open new windows. God's gonna do it. God's gonna do it. Y'all better help him. God's gonna do it. He's gonna do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask or think. He's gonna do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask for. You can ask for. You can ask for. You can ask. That's the word. That's the life.
Hey, Midday, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Midday. Listen, I need everybody. What's up, Tanya? All the way in Jersey City, Jersey. Let me straighten out my screen so y'all won't be thinking I'm upside down. Good afternoon. What's up, Kerry? Kerry, New York. New York City. Girl, listen to all of those that are on. Listen, like, tag, and share. For some reason, I'm not able to some little sponsorship is coming up. I need everybody to hit like, tag, and share. Let's tag, hit at followers, get your cousins on, get your friends in. Let's see. Yeah, it's acting crazy. Now it's working. Tanya, thank you for jumping in. Thank you for your kind text. Tanya and I are pretty cool, right, Tanya? We really close. We family. And she knew that I was expressing, Carrie, about my muscle situation, my arm, and she reached out to me like, I'm so sorry that you're not feeling good. I want to say thank you to all of those that sent up some prayers, those that hit like, tag, and share, those that call out Midday's name, call out my name, call out Bishop Antonio. Y'all just lift us up. Thank you for all of the support and the love and the kind words. Y'all don't have to do that, but you do. You're great people, good people, and I'm thankful to be connected to such amazing people. Let's like, tag, and share. Let's like, tag, and share because we're going to continue on. What do you do when you're blindsided? What do you do when you've been caught off guard? What do you do when you got shook, right? Totally surprised. And it could even be not only in the aspect or the concept of a negative. Sometimes you are totally blindsided that God just blessed you so hard. Things just worked out like that. Does that make sense? It was like one door on top of another. What do you do when you've been blindsided? And I really feel like, hey, Dawn. Hey, Dawn, I love you. I miss my baby. I miss my babies. I miss y'all. That's my Dawn. Let me just give Dawn her flowers while she's on here. When I started Midday, Dawn Lester was one of the people that connected and constantly got on. Almost 2 years, Dawn. You might not realize the investment that you put into Midday and into my ministry. And she's a member of our church, her and her entire family. And I wanted to say openly, thank you for that support. She allows me into her baby's lives and keeps me updated. And I wanted to just say thank you. I'm glad that you're on, Dawn, because I didn't want you to think that that was nothing or taken for granted. But, I wanted you to know that you don't even know your support, you're showing up. And let me say this to you, Midday family. Sometimes the enemy, when we get blindsided and we go into stuff, he wants to make us feel like we're not relevant or that we're not important. So we drop out. Does that make sense? We stop going forward. We just like ghost people, or we just disconnect because I don't want that drama. I don't want that problem. Or you know what? this might not be for me. The devil is a liar. You've got to learn how to discern, how to know your warfare and say, you know what? Why are you fighting me like this? Yeah, we understand, Coco, that we're going to have a fight. You know, we understand Satan going to do what he do. But why are you so interested in me backing down? Why are you fighting me against this job? Why are you staying on my back? That's supposed to be his job. But the job of the believer is to discern the time, to be able to know what God is doing. And that's when we tap in the realm of the spirit and say, Lord, what are you doing? Remember, David had warfare, Coco, in Ziklag. He lost everything. You know, they came in and burned the whole camp down. They took, captive. They done tried to embarrass them. Instead of David saying, well, I'm going to fall on my sword, or I'm out, I'm done. And everybody's flipping on David. I could just imagine the pressure, Dawn, Coco, Tanya, that David was under. Like, I thought you was my rider. I thought you was my friend. See, when you get blindsided is caught off guard without warrant or warning. I didn't see this coming. He is used to coming home to a parade. He's used to coming home to accolades and congratulations. But when he gets home, his whole village, everything is burnt down. And the people that David was with were flipping on him because they as well suffered a loss. They as well had taken a hit. And all of a sudden, it looks like, wow, I got blindsided. I thought you were my bestie. I thought that you was my comrade. I thought you had my back. They start flipping because people are people and situations happen. Instead of David going with that, David gets the ephod. David counsels with God. David transcends. He goes to another place. I'm talking about, how do you build, Cuisine? Hey, Dawn Bobo. How do you rebuild? How do you build when you've been broken? When you've been blindsided, when you just kind of got the wind knocked out of you? What do I do? How do I pick up the pieces? Where? I didn't know it was going to be like this. I couldn't imagine this. What do I do? And how do I do it? Right? How do I pick up the pieces? I remember when my mom died in 1996, December 6th, I was like, yo, how do I live? What am I going to do without my mom? I never had a dad, so it wasn't like there was another parent or another voice. What do I do? I was used to the dynamics. I was used to the relationship, her strength, her guidance, her fussing, her parenting. I was used to living in the same house for years, 35 years. My mother owned the same house in New York City. Same house. I was used to, her coming in and, oh, you better get your life together. Da, da, da. What do you do when you don't have that? I was totally blindsided that, guess what? I was sure, like I mentioned yesterday about my auntie, Mother Carpenter, that she would get through this and we would get on with this. And this will be part of what she beat because she was so strong. But what about when it doesn't go that way? I was blindsided. I was caught off guard that when I woke up and she had passed away, or when the doctor said she's not going to make it this weekend, I was like, now my mom is she's a hitter. My mom is strong. She got this, and she had been through a lot. What do you do when you're blindsided and you didn't calculate that? That wasn't in the vision plan, but now it's on your plate. You've got to rebuild. You've got to pick yourself up again. And we started talking about it a little bit. If y'all would be so kind to like, tag, and share. When you've been blindsided, how do you build? You got to build up. And I believe this out of experience, right? Here it is. Isaac is building. He's trying to get water, and they've taken everything from him. They have fought him, and he still was able in Genesis 26 to get the water. He was still able to rebuild, to hit his Rehoboth. When you are building or rebuilding, Shandi, you got to remember that it has to be an inward conversation first. There has to be a checking of your own self, your own heart, your own garden. Because if you don't have the strength, the mental capacity to do it, and you don't know what you're working with, sometimes we give out and we don't have anything to give out, really. We just on, hey, Latrice, we just, we just giving out fumes, not fuel. In order to build, you got to pull yourself up, from the back bootstraps. What bootstraps? Martin Luther King said it would be nice, but Black people don't even have boots. Sometimes you ain't got anything, but you got to have that confidence. You got to have that trust in God. You got to have that Noah that God's going to do it. I've been down to the ground. Y'all don't want to believe that or hear that. And some of us have been in some real low places. Money in your pocket, but your will, suicide at the door. Your thought process is defeated. And you're like, yo, how am I going to dig out of this? How am I going to get out of this? You've got to have a Noah. You've got to have that relationship. Where was David going to get recovery from? How? How do you see recovery, sir? Everything is burned. Everything is done. All that's going on, Latrice, is yelling. All that's going on. Kia said you got to have that confidence. You got to have that relationship that what God started, he's going to finish. How do you build when you've been blindsided? How do you build when you ain't got strength to stand up? How do I put it back together? The marriage is at the lowest. We are done here. There's nothing that can happen. I'm done. I don't have it to give. There's no more tears here. I already been through this already, right? So I can't give to that. I'm not even willing to serve that. Have you ever been in that place? That's a blind side. When you get depleted. I know days when I lost my mom and I was like, yo, I don't even want to get up. I was heated that I woke up. Heated. Why? Because I wanted to just sleep on. I was like, this is crazy. It felt like I was suffocating because what I knew and everything that was familiar to me. And then all of a sudden, I was being called and I was getting saved. At the same time that my mom was transitioning, God was calling me into salvation, calling me into the kingdom. So certain doors were being closed. I was totally blindsided. Can I tell you the truth? Some of you prayed for salvation. I absolutely did not. I wanted to party. I wanted to be wild. I wanted to just be reckless. I was hurting and I got blindsided. To me, it was a blindside. Let me say this to you. To me, it was a blindside because I was like, doors are closing, and when right now I want them to open up wide. I wanted to just like, I don't care, right? I got blindsided because I started to help my mom. Let me tell you the truth. Help my mother, with being sick, caretaking. She started reading that Bible. So I'm talking to some people that you didn't come from church, right? You didn't come from a bishop being your mother. Like, tag, and share. I didn't have that experience. I don't have a history from going to church and knowing, singing in the choir. No. That's not my story. So to me, I got blindsided. At one point, I remember thinking, I'm getting ready to do my good living. And I'm going to be just as ratchet and raggedy as I want to be, because that was how I was expressing it. It might sound strange, right? It's the truth. I was not looking to have a prayer life. I wasn't looking for healing because I was in darkness. Then all of a sudden, my mother, who's transitioning, talk about blindsided, right? Who's transitioning out, starts saying, read the Bible. Read the Bible. I start reading the Bible at her bedside. I start playing gospel music. I got totally blindsided that the power of God was that way. I was totally blindsided about the love of God and the plan of God, and the will of God, because I wasn't familiar with it, right? About how one plan of one word of God does the increase. So I'm blindsided because we're at one point, Carrie, one point, Nakia, I was like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do. I pay my own bills. Leave me alone. I'm going to do what I want to do, right? To then having a different heart, like, feeling stuff and going to a church and sitting there crying. Well, in my mind, I was just like, yo, I'm just here. Let them preach. Not knowing that the word of God was taking root. I'm talking to somebody that in reality, it was in the will of God, the plan of God, but that hadn't been revealed. How do you build when you've been blindsided? Hey, son. Hey, Travis. Thank you for tagging and sharing, everybody. When you've been blindsided. So to me, I felt like I was blindsided into salvation. Now that I know that he had plans for me, Jeremiah 29:11, he wasn't blindsided. I was caught off guard. because I just was like, this could never be for me. This ain't my life. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for crazy and the craziest I could get, right? I'm looking for total destruction because I was under that lifestyle. I was in that, right? Some of us are like that. When you're talking about how do you build from being blindsided, good or bad, right? It's unexpected. Life, tragedies, blessings. There we go. I didn't know that it was going to go down like that. So when you rebuild, number one, you got to have confidence. We got to know that what God has started, he's going to finish, right? And that what God has called you to. So what I had to do is I started to stay in the word. I got blindsided. My mom, Natasha, is sick. She got cancer, lung cancer. And it was like, what in the world and how did we get here? Who opened the door? Somebody stop this. This is a nightmare, right? We were blindsided because she was so strong. She was just the one. Some of y'all feel like that. Certain entities, certain people in your life, certain places. I got blindsided. I didn't know I was gonna fall in love. I'm tough. I didn't know that it was gonna be like this, that you would become putty in the Lord's hands. There's so many things that you could think about and say, I didn't even know. I didn't know it was going to happen like this. I didn't know it was going to go down. I was guarded. I was in a safe place. I was walled in, right? You couldn't get to me like that. I got blindsided that all of a sudden, I'm wide open. How did this happen? When did we get here, right? How do you know? How do you build from that? Instead of just staying in a state of shock, of numbness, of like not engaging, because I got blindsided. You've got to still make a move. And that starts with confidence. Then you got to start with prayer. My mom was sick with cancer. And what I did was she had me reading that word every day. She had me get that Bible, get that Bible. And I'm like, get the Bible? We don't read the Bible around here like that. What's happening here? Again, I didn't come from that religious type of family. Does that make sense? But I realized that there was a relationship at one point or another with my mother and God. So I tapped into that. I inquired. I looked. I observed, right? She said, read that Bible. Shandi, I started reading the Bible. When she transitioned, I kept it going. You want to rebuild, you're going to have to be able to shift gears. That wasn't our normal. But at this moment, this is what was serving. This is what we needed. I had to latch on to, this had to be right. It was something more. It was more than what I knew. My mother trusted God. She was clear to say, hey, Athena, that it was God. Now, this ain't, jurisdictional bishop, mama. No. This is a woman that raised her children in the hood, single parent, hard times. You know what I mean? The struggle was real. But when it came down to her laying the core values, my mom read that Bible. She called in the preachers. I was able to see. I was able to tap in and say, wait a minute. This ain't nothing little, because she was at the last hours of her life. And I'm talking to somebody that you got to look beyond what you see in the natural. You got to tap in. You can't be carnal when you're trying to rebuild from being blindsided. You just got blessed. You can't just go and start acting like, this was supposed to happen for me. You got to tap into something bigger. So we know we got to have the confidence, but then you got to have the eye to see. You got to be able to pray it through. When you want to rebuild or you're building something, you got to be able to say, wait a minute, this woman is dying. My mom, Athena, she transitioned. She said, get the Bible, call the priest, call the Catholic, call the pastor. You might be concerned about what? I don't get it. She was like, I got an answer. So she was aware that it was revealed to me in the space I'm in. Somebody got to hear this. You got to be able to discern the table you sit at, the seat that you sit in. You want to build again. Where are you in the middle of this? What's going on? Do you understand that the woman that the prophet said, the widow woman said this? She said, I don't have anything. My husband is going. They're coming to get the debt. They coming to get my kids for debt. The prophet said in the book of Kings, what do you have that's in your house? She said, I ain't got nothing but a little bit of oil. At that moment, he's saying, take an assessment of what you have that could be multiplied, that could be used, that could gain interest, that could grow. What do you still have? Well, at that moment when my mother is dying, I'm thinking of everything I don't have. But I remembered that I had a CD from Kirk Franklin, his first, his Christmas CD, right? I had the CD and I had the Bible. That's all I had that I thought was valuable. I didn't care about no pocketbooks, no fur coat, no nothing, no furniture, no china. What did I have? I remember having this Kirk Franklin CD. And at the time, December and September, Athena, of 1996, Chief Apostle Chief Apostle Orrin Pullins opened up his ministry in September. I had started going to that ministry. It was not Dr. Medina, it wasn't Chief Apostle, it was Pastor Orrin and First Lady Pullins. And when I would go there, I wasn't like steady Eddie, but I went a few times. I remember I had that church. I had never had that. So in my perimeter, I had some stuff that I had never had. I had the Bible, I had worship music, and I had a pastor. Do you see? What did you have in your house? When you've been blindsided, you're going to have to take an assessment. Who's still standing? Who's my real riders? Who's my friends? Who been there? Who could cover me? Not who's the ones that could tickle my fancy. I'm talking about when you've been blindsided. You just got blindsided with a blessing. You better make sure you know who's your real friends. Who could I share this blessing with? Who's the one Peter that the next broke and I'm gonna be able to distribute? Who could I bring in, Athena, that could experience what I'm experiencing and not get jealous and not be hateful and not, become a nuisance? Who? You're gonna have to assess what's in your circle, what's in your hands, what's valuable and what's not. So for me, I knew that guess what I had a Bible. I didn't have that before. I had that relationship. Kia, I had the experience to see my mom put something in perspective that was bigger than her. That was at an hour where she was fading and she started talking about God. I knew that it had to be something to it. For my mother to do that, for her to start telling her story, she opened up and I started to tap in. She said, who you thought fed my kids? Who you thought took care of y'all? Who you thought kept us together? She said, it was God. It's been God. My son been here, came back alive. You went through domestic violence, right? Travis said, who can you run to? When you've been blindsided, Travis, even overtaken with blessings like Peter, or that you find yourself in a place of Ziklag like David, right? All of a sudden, you gotta do an assessment. You gotta do something that they call vetting. Who's my people and where you at? What do I have that's valuable that I could use that I could flip something? So for me, okay, so I got the Bible, I got my Kirk Franklin CD, right? That we didn't download. You had the CDs at the time. I had one CD. And that was the CD that said, now behold the Lamb. Hey, nephew. And then all of a sudden, I had a pastor. So now that my mom is transitioned, I knew this is what she was talking about. Call the preacher in. I want to make sure I'm right. So she's concerned about her soul. Hey, okay, that gives me some insight that I need to be concerned about my soul and not about my shoes and not about my hair, right? Oftentimes, Darwin, when we've been blindsided and we building, we don't realize what we have to rebuild. Paul and them are on the ship, and he said, listen, hold on to the broken pieces. What do you have left after this storm, after this trial that is valuable? You might not be able to say, it's my pocketbook, it's my house. What I got is a praise. What I found out is me and my kids are more than enough. What I found out is that I have integrity. I'm a loyalist to this, and I'm going to hold on to that. That's going to take me somewhere. You've got to have the confidence to know that if God started something, to those that are building, rebuilding, what do I have? I got equity in this house. I got my business. I got the pen of a ready writer. I could rap. I could dig myself out. I could sing. I love the way Chief Apostle said, I will flip my way out if you give me a spatula. So you got to know, do I still have something? Isaac said I could dig in Genesis 26. He was focused. He used that to get to Rehoboth, Darwin. That was his transportation, his focusedness, his consistency, right? His determination. He didn't have anything else. He got haters. He got his wife. He got his cattle. He got deadlines. But this man said, I'm going to keep digging. I'm going to keep on digging. I'm going to keep on digging. How do you build when you've been blindsided? You've got to make an assessment of what is it that I have that could flip, that could work, that could be multiplied, that could be transferred, that could transcend. See, I didn't have anything. I just had the pastor and I wasn't in the church. So I didn't even know how to say hallelujah. I practiced that. I'm talking to somebody. When you want to build, you're going to have to be able to invest. You got to you got to do an assessment. Then you got to do an investment. We building. I've been blindsided. I lost my mother. I had a miscarriage. I didn't think I was going to get on drugs. What do you have that's going to be able to get you up out of that? You got your confidence in God. I made a total boo-boo. I messed up. I opened my mouth. I talked quick. I played myself. Okay, I showed my hand. That doesn't mean it got to stop there. What do I have that's going to be able? I know somebody that's really intellectual, and they're a writer, and they're very meticulous. Well, they were in the middle of a lawsuit, and it could have went either way. Because of this person's meticulous behavior, you would almost say it's OCD, but they're very articulate and able to express words, and they kept emails. It brought them into a large sum of money because what they use is what they had. They had the confidence. If I can't do nothing, I know I could write. You know I'm detailed, right? They would say that to me. You know I keep, you know that. So almost where people would say they OCD or they funny style with that, or they extra, you doing too much. That was the segue. That was the leverage. That was the tool that God used to bring the wealth in, to bring the increase in, to bring the overflow for the manifestation. There are some things that it looked like life just threw everything. My mom had passed away December 6th, like at 5 something in the morning. And I'm like, what do I have? And the enemy's trying to tell me, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got no man. You ain't got no money. You ain't got no relationship. You know, you ain't got your self-esteem. You don't have a degree. I heard everything I didn't have. But what I did know is I had that intimacy with my mother. What I did know is that God blessed me for 8 months to be able to take care of her. 8 months to hear stories. So what I did know is that there was a part of my life that was healed because I got that time. God had extended that to me. That was a one-up. That was a plus, right? Because I wasn't in guilt. I was able to ask all the questions, sit at her bedside, and then she was able to pour out to me. This happened to me when I was 14. Then not only here did I have the testimony, but I had the understanding of where she came from. She was able to share her stories and her scenarios with me, and it gave me insight to where she was coming from. And then I was able to open up and say, you know why I did that and I did that. So that was an advantage to me. I wasn't going to be like, oh God, I miss my mom, because now I had understanding. So I got testimony, I had time, I had understanding. The enemy will want you to talk about everything you don't have. And I come to say to you, I come to unpack to you, start looking at what you have, and you got to build from that. So you got to build from the confidence. You got to make sure that you have, you vet. Who's in my circle? Then you got to make that investment for what you have. So once I realized where I'm going, Athena, once I realized that, guess what? I got God on my side. God did that for me. That was my sum total. In December of 1996, when the enemy is telling me, you've been getting beat up for 14 years. Don't nobody want you. You and your mom used to curse at your mom. You and your mom used to have fights flat out. You just too reckless. People wouldn't touch me. I was damaged. I was broken. So I start looking at, what am I going to do now? Because I know what I stand under. I know that the seeds that I've sown, I'm going to get a harvest. I understand that. So I decided, hey, Angela, my objective was, let me get on God's side, because I never did that before. The Bible says when a man starts to build, he counts up the cost. I'm talking about to those that took a loss and you don't know where you're standing or what's coming. And I've been blindsided. I didn't know the pandemic was going to do that. But are you still able to write? Are you still able to sing? Are you still able give? Are you still able to sow? And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about love. You can start digging your way out building by texting people kind words. You can start building relationships with people with a consistent thread of texts that don't cost you no extra than your phone bill. I'm talking about using what's in your hand. You already going to church. You already paying the insurance. You already paying the note. Fill that car up and make that a Ghostbuster van. And before you know it, you out. Because he that lendeth to the poor, lendeth to the Lord. Yeah, y'all don't want to hear. What's up, Tony B? Hey, Helen. I responded back to what you DM'd me, Helen. That absolutely was not me. Somebody's got a fake page out about me, and it's crazy. Sister Angela, Minister Angela, sometimes we don't know when we build, right? You might not have everything. Nehemiah, who built the wall in 52 days. He did an assessment of the wall. He did an assessment of the workers. Nehemiah built in a day, kept his clothes on. He worked rapidly. He worked intentionally. I'm talking about when you've been blindsided and all of a sudden death is at the door, sickness at the door, destruction is trying to come in. What do I do to get back on board? How do I pull my family back through when Big Mama died, when Dad left, when I got sick? What do I do? I'm talking about you could start building with acts of kindness. You could start building with faith movement and kingdom mind. My mom died. I was the least of them. My sister said to me yesterday with all respect and love, she said, Mom would be looking at you surprised and so grateful. And I said to her the other day, I said, don't start. My mom ain't never seen me do nothing but come home with black eyes and busted lips. I didn't even graduate on time. Out of all of her daughters, I was just like the worst. She said, but Mommy and Grandma would be so happy, so thankful for Booker. I mean, she called my husband that by his last name, right? She said, brother, ain't nothing but the truth. I'm talking about how do you build to dig out and your whole life turns around and you shocked at it. You got to make sure that you get into the presence of the Lord. I'm talking to some people, and it's like, how did I get here? How did I get in this debt? How did I get in this state? Huh? How do I stay from getting in pride and arrogance? And God just blew my mind, opened up and answered prayer. I'm living at Amos 9 and 13. You got to know, what do I have that I could give? Even when you bless, that doesn't mean you don't give. The more he does, the lower you go. That's when you know that, guess what? This is all God. Hey, T. That's my girl right there. Outreach queen. Tawanda, when you've been blindsided, doing what you do, and all of a sudden, God shows up, interrupts the plan, redirects it, right? Takes you to another dimension, opens up another door that we didn't see. I was on yesterday, and I brought all my medicine where I have I got muscular, vascular, so they say, you know, your arm, this, that, and the third. And every day I was getting up in prayer, and I was just moving my arm. Yesterday I had my medicine, the medicine. I don't want to claim that. Latrice, what am I saying? Life be lifing. And math don't be mathing all the time. But you cannot stop there. You got to assess what you have. Who's my riders? Where's my bestie at? This ain't the time for me to get a Facebook friend and make that my bestie. I need my riders. I need my tribe, right? And I'm going to hold tight to that. Because those are the people I know that got my back. Okay? Hey, Mother Joan, Chi-Town in the house. That's my girl right there, Mother Joan. So you got to know that. And then you got to have the confidence to know that God, you need just a mustard seed amount of faith that can move a mountain. You don't need me to speak in tongues for an hour. You just need me to speak the word, a word. Bid me to come if that be you. He said, if that be you, bid me to come. And Peter, come on, get off the boat. Get out what's been unstable. Get out the norm. I'm talking to somebody that you need to build. You've been blindsided. You've been stuck. And all of a sudden, you think you need all of that. You don't. You need to know that what God started, he's going to finish. If he's before you, he's more than the world against you. Weapons that have been formed against you, and they have formed, and it is crazy, and it is wrong. But I said last week, it's not right, but it's okay. You're going to make it anyway. So as simple as that. You've got to get something from God to hold on, so that you can present it to him. So when I didn't know what to do, right? Tawanda said, I need my tribe. Gotta have a tribe. You better have you a close-knit circle of people that know you and they can be able to check you and be able to call you out. There's times that the other day my husband was doing something. I called Pastor Kelly right in that moment. That is my rider. That is Sissy. I called Sister Anderson. I called Danya Shaw. Guess what? That's proven. That's sisters. Ain't no jealousy. Ain't no hate. When I'm losing my weight, I call my sister Liz. I send out texts to my family, right? Because I know there's a level of confidence, there's a level of support that I'm going to get. I don't send the text to the people that's going to be like, you look horrible on your surgery. You look sickly. I don't need to hear that. But I got somebody that will say, like Pastor Kelly was like, sis, you're looking like you're not feeling well. I was totally, Minister Angela, deficient in vitamins. It's not what she said, it's how she said it. She's part of my tribe. And then all of a sudden, I started moving on that. I didn't want to hear that. I want to hear, oh, you look great. She said, no, you look like you missing a couple of meals, sis. Absolutely. My knees was hurting. My body was aching. And it was a contradiction to what I was, thought I should experience. And that was because I was vitamin deficient. I was low in protein, right? That's my tribe, though. She came and told me that. I took what she said and I started to move off of that. You want to rebuild. You want to build after you've been blindsided. He said, accountable support. I'm telling you what I've lived. You got to stop getting with people. They are Facebook friends. Those are called followers, sweetie cakes. Those are not your friends. Those are followers. Those are people that have to ask you, could they get in your life? Then there's some people that got put in your life. Did you get that? Facebook, Instagram, they are followers. They have to hit a button. You have to approve them, Travis, to be in your life. Then there are some people that have been divinely sent into your life, and you can't defriend them. They are on assignment. We rock like, hot sauce and fried chicken. It's a perfect combination. That's the difference between getting caught up with social media. There are some people, like my best friend, hey Angela, that when my mom died at 5-something in the morning, she living in Brooklyn. She got 2 kids, right? We wasn't in the church. And I called her up and I said, Ace, mommy died. She said, I'm on my way. She got 2 little babies. She's a single mother. We were like kind of sort of in the church, right? Kind of sort of. That means that we went kind of sort of, right? And we kind of sort of lived right? She packed up her kids for 7 days. Babies, one borough to another. Come through the door. What you need? I remember, like, I couldn't think. Have you ever been in that space when I couldn't get a clear thought. And she said to me, don't you worry, I'm going to think for you. What? She said, what you got to do? What you need to do, Mars? I'm going to think for you. That was a burden off certain things, questions, answers, people I wanted to reach out to, my own space. People call me, yo, let's go party. She'd be like, nah, not today. She ain't going to do that. And because she knew I was at. That's your tribe. That's your people. That's the people that you need to build with, that got your back, got your front, know you with your wig on, know you without your lashes, know you. Does that make sense? We got to be able to vet who's in my circle and who got my back. And who could I back on? Who could I lean back on? So here it is. Isaac is in a position in Genesis 26. And I need you to hear this and I need you to get this because we get crazy. And the enemy wants you to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But you ain't going out like that. You can't do that. You can't. That's not what you want to do. I don't want to quit like that. I don't want it to be the last, soliloquy or the song of my life. You hear me? Your tribe, those friends within your generation is very rare, but obtainable. And you know why, Travis? Because we go for the willy-nilly. The Bible says in order to be a friend, you got to find yourself friendly. So when you put the standard out, my best friend for over 30, 40 years has been my best friend, and I've been there for her. We've had some ups and downs, but we like sisters. When I say Pastor Kelly, sisters. When I say Diane, it's sisters. And let me tell you, it could be cat fights. It could be like, yo, let me call you back. Sister Helen, we go at it. PK, she be coming for me. She's anointed, but you know what she's coming for? Greater. She's not coming for the silly lady. She's not coming for the one that could revert back. She's coming for the one that she knows stand flat-footed, anointed, and got something purpose in her life. When she told me about my weight or how I was looking, she's a nurse. That's her profession. She's like, your skin looks flushed. I was vitamin deficient. Some of us could get so mad when somebody's looking at the greater you. You thinking they looking at you. She's looking at where your skin looks flushed, sissy. You don't look like you're laughing. It looks like you're cold all the time. Since I listened to her, because I want to talk to some people. Hey, Mario, I want to talk to some people that when people say something, you don't like it. And you jump back and you get in there because you don't really want greater. You ain't really ready to build. Huh? You don't, when you ready to build, when you've been blindsided and everything is down, your flesh got to be down. Your spirit man got to be down. Your will got to be down. To build, think about how they demolish a building. They taking that thing down to the bare bones. They taking it to the structure. They're going back to the beginning. So yeah, you have friends for 30, 40 years and are now your friends, right? Absolutely. You got friends for years and they still your friends. They become family. We ride. And guess what? When you doing a building, that thing got to go down to the bottom. When you getting your teeth fixed, they sometimes got to get down right to the root. We got to know, in order for you to build, when you've been blindsided, David and them lost everything. He lost everything in Ziklag. Everything was gone. So when they came back replenished. David came back with everything. He came back with victory. He came back with his integrity. They were getting ready to stone. They get ready to flip on each other. They were like, we're not sharing with them. They didn't help. David said, you evil. David remained the leader. David remained in the posture of integrity. He said, we have been down too long to allow the devil, I'm paraphrasing, to come in and divide us. We're going to take back to the ones that couldn't fight because it was once upon a time they fought with us. We're going to be grateful for what God gave us. See, you got to vet what's in your house. David was like, I lost a lot, but I kept prayer. I kept my relationship. And I want to say this to somebody that's listening, and I need you to hear this. Stop being so transactional and become relational. I said it to the stop being so calculating how this gonna benefit me. What about the relationship? What about the love? What about the unity? What about the us win? What about us gathering together? You're not gonna win. When my mom was sick, she said, read that Bible. That included me and her. It wasn't just her getting her Bible by herself. She was like, Mars, get the Bible. Mommy, you need to read the Bible. Read that word to me again. Say it again. All of a sudden, I became a reader. I didn't know about no readers, Latrice, in the church. I became the reader. Then my mom would be put on the worship, sit in the room with me. We would worship. I didn't know about corporate worship. That started at home when my mother had 8 months to live. Some of us are so segregated. What do you have that you could use, that could build, but not build just for you? Who could you build with that you could include people? Nehemiah built the wall, but he used the craftsmen. He used the people that were able to put up the glass. He took an assessment, and he wasn't just the only one that was broken about the ruins of the nation. You're not the only one that's been affected by the divorce. You're not the only one that was affected by the chemo. Yes, you went through the chemo. Yes, you lost your breast. Yes, you lost your hair. But there was somebody that was devastated that watched that. Somebody that combed your hair out. Somebody that went to chemo with you. And though they looked strong, there was days that they were crying. My mom wasn't the only one that was going through. So was I. Transitioning was hitting for me and her, my brother, my sisters, my nieces, my nephew. We were all affected. Not just me. That happened to me. That happened to me. You don't understand. We all was affected. We all was affected by COVID in different ways. We were all affected by the divorce. We were all affected by the separation. We never was the same again. Crack came in the house. You wasn't the only one that dad walked away from. I was affected. You wasn't the only one that when mom and dad separated or fought that was scared. Sometimes we don't assess that. Guess what? What do you have? Wow. Quiz. Sometimes we think what we're going through is isolated. Not so. When I moved to go to pastor, and I'm getting ready to go, when we were called to Charlotte, my entire church in Richmond has shifted, changed. We were missing each other. We were close-knit, still are, but it was a difference. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was so used to seeing Bishop and Dr. Medina for years preach, get up. I can expect that. I was excited about that. That was my comfort zone. I remember when my husband started preaching, I used to be like this, Bishop, don't preach like that. It took a minute. That affected my marriage. Every time he would mount the pulpit, say something like, Bishop would have never said that. I was so trained to that. I was so used to that. I was so scared of anything else. And then my husband was like, I'm not Bishop. I'm his son. I knew he wasn't, but I was just holding on to what I knew. When there's transformation and transition, there are other people that's affected. What are we going to do? How are we going to build when we've been blindsided? Together. Together, Quiz. How are we going to build? You and your wife, you and your kids, you and the neighbor. How are we going to build? Together. How are we going to build up the community? How are we going to go from kingdom culture? How are we going to get the kingdom in the people of God together? How are we going to change the world together with God? One language, one mind, unstoppable. How do we build when we've been blindsided together? We got breakthrough. No breakthrough without Bishop Antonio. No breakthrough without my tribe. No breakthrough without tithing. There's no breakthrough that's taking place, and I'm going to betray God, and I'm going to worship an idol. How do we build? When we've been blindsided, you got to do the investment. You got to do the assessment. You got to do the vetting so you know your friends and you know who's with you. But I can tell you what's not going. Breaking covenant is not going. It's not going to live here. Tithing. You give me, whatever you give me, 10%. I'm tithing and offering. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Hit like, tag, and share. Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on. I'm telling you, how do you build? Yeah, Christine said, good afternoon, PM. Hey, nephew. He's so faithful. That's really Dr. Medina's baby brother. And we've been together. How long, Quiz? I called Nanny Kids yesterday. We family. Huh? When I was they see me at some crazy stage. Now they grown, married, got their own kids. That's why I'm like, hey, nephew. Because guess what? How do you know? When you building again, you better build on what you know, your core values, not the winds and doctrines of this day. Some of us have gotten away from that. And some of us are going to pull in gear and say, you know, I'm getting ready to switch up. I'm getting ready to get tighter. I'm getting ready to get committed. I'm getting ready to get my mind back, right? So that's why I can say to Cuisine, hey, nephew, because this didn't start yesterday. This is when I say I was out there and I wanted to be ratchet and wild. He know that. He said 30 years at least. I'm old, LOL. We need to understand the power of covenant. Absolutely, Minister Angela. And then when we know covenant and we know about, purpose and about the process of God and the thinking of God, some stuff is just wind. Some stuff is just smoke screens. And I want to talk to somebody today. You have what it takes to build, though you've been blindsided. God is blessing. You better make sure that you're building on a solid foundation. Amos 9:13. Amos, one thing on the heels of another. That could be overwhelming. That could be anxiety at its best. If you don't trust God, the trust we have is that, guess what? I don't trust horses and chariots. I trust in the name of the Lord, for he is a strong tower. The righteous run and they are safe and they are saved. I lean not to my own understanding. So even when it's the Amos, even when it's the double door, how am I going to walk through the double door and not lose my mind? Because he can open one door. And if you get in yourself, it's a wrap. You build after you've been blindsided with the confidence, with your prayer life. Huh? Using what God has left or putting your hand to kingdom advancement. You got to make sure you got a tight circle. You got to make sure that you got people, that are for you and people that you are with that know you. I don't need somebody, Pastor, you're the bomb. Pastor's not the bomb. Come on. It's nice that you can appreciate my name. I got some people, and I don't have people that's spirit killers. I got some people that know the real deal. They know already. I've been losing weight. Latrice said, invest in others while you're broken. We'll bring you out and through to the other side. Build. Latrice, I got some people that already know. I said they scared to death for me to lose this weight, and they really not. They know me. They know PM will put on something. That was the old me. That was the old me, right? But they keep it. What's that hymn look like? Like my auntie before she passed, Mother Carpenter. Even at my highest weight at 334, she like, Niecy, I don't want to see the fat between your thighs, Denise. I don't like that. Auntie doesn't like that. So when I get dressed, I be like, Auntie, I ain't got a. Even though she passed away a few months ago, I still say that. I be like, Auntie, Niecy ain't got a lot of fat between those thighs. She knew me. She knew me inside and out. You got to make sure that you get some people, real story, she said that to me. You got to get some people that could tell you the truth. You got to get some people that's going to be able to push you along, pick you up. Remember, followers are not friends. Friends, real friends are the people assigned, destined in your life. Followers are people that you bring in and you let them into your life. And then when you don't want them in, you defriend them. Real friends, real tribe, it don't work like that. You could be like, get out, and they be right there the next day, like, you ready to go shopping? And you be like, yeah, all right, let's go. Does that make sense? That's the truth. I wanted to share that with you today. This week, we're going to be talking about building. We're talking about building and blindsided. Getting better after you got blindsided, not getting stuck. What do you do? Here's the title, When You've Been Blindsided. And as well, I want you to understand where I'm going with this. I'm putting out titles. I'm starting to get better because I'm getting ready to launch out a podcast. I'm getting ready to do a podcast. So on this platform, how do you build? Right? How do you do better? I'm not preaching something, I'm living. I'm multitasking. I got vision in view. I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't have to, don't say nothing. Sometimes that stuff is just like, you secretive. This is what I'm doing. So the platform that I'm at, the door I have, I'm going to use that so that I could create getting better. Right where you are. Hey, Sister Angela, right where you are, you want a person might want house, right? And we could be like, oh, house. Start paying the rent on time to build your credit for the house. Use what's in your hand, right? Start cleaning the house. Start decluttering. Start cleaning your apartment. I want house. Get prepared for a house. So I know that I'm getting ready to do something else. And one of the requirements is that I do titles, right? I'm using midday to help me to get into my future door. Some of us want to get indoor, but you don't want to build the stamina. You don't want to build the integrity. You don't want to build the experience that when you get to the door, I'm already prepared. So if you say, I'm going to own, let's see about your credit. How's your payment history? Where's your savings at? Where's your house account? Where's the discipline at? Where's your realtor at? Where are you at with that? Or is it just house, but you're not really faithful with apartment? I want husband. God gonna bless me. It's my year. Release Boaz. Let's see how well you're doing in being single. A faithful man abides in the blessing. One thing for sure and two things for certain. You're not going to tune into midday and I give you nursery rhymes. You're not going to tune into midday 5 days a week and PM tell you something that's not scriptural and it's not right. So a faithful man abides. You believe God, right? You can believe God. Well, then let's start decluttering. I believe God, I'm going to preach. Then let's get healed. Let's work on it. Let's work on that. Let's put some stuff in action. Let's see where you spend your time at. What's your investment like? What are you investing in your personal time? Self-care. I believe God's going to do this. But where are we going to start at? You're going to start today. You're going to use what's in your hand. You're going to start, if you have the ability to text, and you could send out texts and acts of kindness and help people, right? Latrina, she said, practical teaching. Let me say this, Latrice. If you could text somebody, scripture. See, everybody wants, some people, not everybody that's on, I want to preach. Well, you can. You got 58 people in your contact. Send a word. You just reached 58 people. Send a song. I'm famous for sending them songs, boy. I sent out a song this week. Chandler Moore and Todd Gavitt, I think that's how you pronounce it. Oh my God, he never changes. I done sent that all over. That was my song. It just kept me for the last few days, right? Working on healing as a man, even right now. The process is waiting because the anointing is heavy, Travis. And you're in a good place to work on, not just, working on others, working. The Bible says that let a man examine himself even before you do communion. Corinthians talks about that. The person that we don't never like to look at is us. Look in the mirror. Sometimes you'll be like, who do? No, I don't want to see that because we don't like what we see. But when we start working and able to see ourselves, then guess what? Then we can work on ourselves. I want to encourage you that whatever's in your hand, if it's your phone, if you can fry chicken, fry a pack of chicken and sew it into somebody. Be a blessing. Maybe you can't do it all the time. PM groceries is high, but you fry some bad chicken. Your chicken is crunchy. Your chicken could be eaten cold. That's when you know you got good fried chicken, right? That when you can eat that chicken cold, people can just, have you ever had just some room temperature chicken? You could make a meal for somebody. Take 6 pieces of chicken, a little bit of rice, some corn, wrap it up, Tupperware, and sew it into somebody. You'll be surprised how that could be a blessing. You'll be surprised how that could be a business. That's a seed that could go out, like my son said, it goes out one way, but it comes in weighty. It goes out lean. You said, I just took my food stamps. You could be a blessing. I've had food stamps. Y'all ain't ready to hear this. I've sown from the food stamps. Food. My husband and I cooked. We didn't have all those members and chefs in our church at the time. We did the cooking. The other day, we did the cooking for an event. And guess what? Souls came. Van loads came. We done fed about 30,000 in this city because what was in our hand? Well, it was in our heart and it was in our hand. How do you build? What do you have left? Are you able to make cards? Make the cards. Don't nobody like cards? Sure they do. Absolutely they do, right? She said, this is good teaching, Pastor. Thank you. You know why? Because since I want you to hear this, I need everybody that's on. We get so caught up in what's not going on and people don't do this no more. I'm going to just tell you this. A lot of people don't like antiques. I absolutely like them. I like the vintage. You can look at my chair. So what? They don't do it. That doesn't mean it's not alive. It doesn't mean it's not relevant. We're the ones that's going to bring it back. Does that make sense? There are some people that be like, I'm just not getting rid of my patch leather coat. No, ain't nobody wearing patch leather. No, I am. I'm the trendsetter for this look because I like it. Be the one to take control of the trend. You set the trend. Acts of kindness, right? Going the distance for love. Being kind to brotherly kindness, right? Looking out, having compassion. Thanksgiving coming. Me and my husband ain't have nothing. We used to feed so many people, not just with our church, with our house, and still do it. And still to this day, especially now we have surgery, we be like, here, come get this. Come get this. My husband can make seafood. I'm not a seafood lover. You think I'd be gatekeeping over crab legs and lobsters? Come get this. We make it an event. We make it an event. I love a party. Dr. Medina is absolutely right. She said, I love them too. You've got to make sure that guess what? What do you have? We're going to build. But you're going to build with what you have in your hand. What's in your circle? What's in your atmosphere? You got a lot of shoes? You got old shoes? Start sewing them. Give them away. Sell them. Use the money to do something else. Be a blessing to somebody else. Pastors aren't this transparent anymore. Thank you, Pastor Marcella. Thank you. You know, that's a true step. Don't get us to start talking about transparency. I wasn't always like this. I was in domestic violence when I was 14 to 26. I had 11 stitches in my head, burnt with an iron. I've had a journey. And I realized that me keeping that quiet, limited my help, stole time, you know, because I was trying to front, didn't want nobody to know, tried to cover it up with brands and right? It drove a wedge, my silence, through my family because they didn't know what I was going through. They didn't know. And then, you know, it drove me closer to the enemy because they had that on me. They knew I didn't want to tell. And the Lord has allowed me to sit in this seat, come into your home, meet you at work, to just be open because I'm not the only one that's going through. I'm not the only one that's building. I'm not the only one that needs to hear somebody to say, this is the way. Sometimes we get life could be life and it's just like, I just need some direction. I need somebody to talk to. When I was 14 to 26, communication was a problem and the lack thereof. I've made it my business to promise the Lord. As long as he give me word, he give me direction, he anoint me, I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to tell on me. If you tell me the story for the glory of God, I'm going to cut it up, Mario, and tell that story so that it could be kingdom glory. So you could depend on getting on midday. And it might seem irrelevant. PM going to tell you because I want you to win. God wants you to thrive. And I want y'all to hit like, tag, and share. Thank you for your transparency and even stepping up to say pastors aren't, this transparent. I like to say people aren't. People be gatekeeping. We talked about that. I'm not a gatekeeper. If it's a sale, it's a sale. If it's something that we could get, we all gonna get blessed because it's to the glory of God. If I'm gonna get healed, you gonna get healed, and we gonna be together because we're better together than apart. I need everybody. Is Marlo? Sorry, I want everyone to grow in God. It's God's will. I love the way Hezekiah said, I need you. You need me. We are a part of God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. I got to look that up, right? Travis, Marlo, I love you for smiling. Listen, hit the notification. Guess what? In 2 days, somebody say 1, 2, 1, 2. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. I'm going to be 53 years old on Friday. Y'all need to get on midday and celebrate my birthday and all the loves. And let's just celebrate together. We got midday lunch here. I want y'all to make sure that y'all get on, set your clock, say, come on, it's my girl's birthday, and I'm glad she's living. I'm glad she's live. I'm glad that we're together, and I'm asking everybody. I'm not asking for anything else. I'm not doing no dry begging. I just want you to get on, and we're going to do our lunch thing on my birthday. I am honored and pleased and privileged to be able to do Destiny on my birthday. I've 50-something years. I've been in church like 25 years. I've always been excited to be able to go to church on my birthday. Who knew that would be in me, right? God knew. Listen, happy. Thank you, Minister Angela. I love you. Mother Joan Jackson said, yep. 2 more days. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Athena said, happy birthday. Thank you. Listen, those that want to sow today into this word, into this broadcast, say, guess what? I want to sow. I want to sow. Go to $Fat Marcy. We are talking about when you've been blindsided. How do you build? You got to know your circle. And you say, guess what? This is a safe place. This is a good place. This is an advanced place. I'm sowing in this ground. You could go to Fat Marcy 70. Sow your best seed. Sow. Put it in the ground. Put it in the ground and say, guess what? I'm building. I'm reassessing. I'm realigning. I'm rethinking. I'm launching. You could go do that. Fat Marcy 70. You're sowing into my next level in my podcast. And when I get to tell y'all, me and Shandi gonna work on that tomorrow. That's gonna be a great birthday present for me. What's my birthday present? That I'm going to take midday, put into a podcast so that I could reach more souls around the world. The Lord laid me on someone's heart. I'm checking it out. We're going to check it out to see how we could do this. And you're sowing into kingdom advancement. Midday going to another broadcast. And I'm still going to be here live. It's not this or that. It's this and that. You could sow your seed, Fat Marcy 70. Or you could go to Zelle, marcella.book@aol.com. Excuse me, Zelle, marcella.book@aol.com. I appreciate you all. Thank you. I love you guys to pieces. And I want you to have an amazing day. Thank you, YouTube. I love you guys. Shandi, we're going to go out with a praise. Come on, Shandi. We got something for y'all. Yeah, she said, a happy birthday already. Yep. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Let's go. Have a great day. I love you guys very much.
He's gonna do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask for. I'm trying to tell you, you can ask for. He's gonna blow your mind. You can ask. He's gonna make you way. You can ask. He's gonna open new doors. You can ask. He's gonna open new windows. God's gonna do it. God's gonna do it. Y'all let me help him. God's gonna do it. He's gonna do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask or think. He's gonna do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask for. You can ask for. You can ask for. above all. You can ask for, you can ask for, you can ask for. I'm trying to tell you, you can ask for, you can ask for, you can ask. He's gonna blow your mind. You can ask. He's gonna make you wait. You can ask. He's gonna open new doors. You can ask for. He's gonna open new windows. God's gonna do it. God's gonna do it. Y'all let me help him. God's gonna do it. He's gonna do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask or think. He's gonna do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask for. You can ask for.